Hello viewer, a warm welcome to Elimu TV where you watch and learn. This is Geography Form 2, Lesson 7, and today's subtopic is going to be faulting. I am your teacher, Madam Abigail Rachel. So, heading on, in the last lesson, we were talking about folding, and so we concluded on folding, and we concluded with the significance of folding. That is the significance of features resulting from folding. And in this significance, there are both positive and negative significance. So just to mention some of the positive significance, you said that fold mountains are unique features that promote tourism. Who doesn't like to see or to go to beautiful places? So some of these places that people like to go to, students, parents, just to have some fun, these are examples of features that occur as a result of the movement of the Earth's surface, either by folding, either by faulting, either by volcanicity, etc. That is why geography is interesting, because we learn some of these features, how they are formed, and what's the importance to the society, as well as to the whole country. So these features promote tourism, because many people will travel from abroad, from Europe all the way to Kenya to see some of these features. Examples of mountain, there's Mount Kenya, there's Mount Kilimanjaro, there's the Atlas Mountains, there's the Himalayas Mountains. So they always attract tourism. Point number 2 is that fold mountains encourage relief rainfall. Relief rainfall occurs where there are mountains, because these mountains, they have a lot of trees. They have many trees that end up forming forest. So these forests attract rainfall, and when this rainfall is attracted, there can be lakes that can be formed around, and so these lakes also provide water for domestic use. Examples of domestic use include irrigation, using it as home storage water. Another significance, that's the negative effect, will be fold mountains cause poor visibility to aircraft when it is foggy. So this is a limitation to air travel, because when it is foggy, planes cannot travel. It will risk it having an accident, or just the plane not being able to move forward because the pilot cannot see ahead. Let's move on to our lesson today. I hope you are still attentive. You still want to learn more about geography, and our topic will be the faulting. So faulting, I'll just define what faulting is. And faulting is the process whereby crustal rocks break as a result of tectonic forces. Note the difference between folding and faulting. In folding, the rocks bend, while in faulting, the crustal rocks break as a result of tectonic forces. And these tectonic forces, they push the crustal rocks away from each other or against each other. And from the topic of today, that is faulting, we get the word a fault. So, heading on to describe a fault. A fault is a fracture in the Earth's crust along which displacement of a rock has occurred. Just to repeat, a fracture is a fracture in the Earth's crust along which displacement of a rock has occurred. So, it is that fracture. When you have a fracture, it shows that there is a line of weakness somewhere, and this will be caused by the crustal rocks being displaced. Okay, now because geography is a very interesting subject, let's look at types of fault by use of a video. So in this video, we will learn about other types of faults that you probably didn't know, or that probably you knew but you did not know what they were called. So we will look at the different types of fault, listen to it keenly, make some few notes. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to SMS us on 22518.
In zones of rifting continental plates, the crust is pulled apart. The brittle crust yields by fracturing along a fault. Faulting is accompanied by a slipping motion along the fault plane. Along the steeply inclined fault plane, the crust on one side is upthrown relative to the other, leaving a cliff called a fault scarp. Normal faults are not isolated features. Grand-scale, normal faulting can produce tilted block mountains. Commonly, multiple parallel faults occur, giving rise to a particular pattern of rock structure and topography. A narrow block elevated between two normal faults is a horst. A narrow block dropped down between two normal faults is a graben. Grabens make topographic trenches that form wide valleys surrounded by mountains carved from horsts. Some of the world's deepest lakes are water-filled grabens. When continents collide, sediment layers are compressed. The rocks suddenly yield to the compressional movement. In a reverse fault, one side rides up the fault plane over the other side. This leaves an overhanging scarp that produces landslides. The overthrust fault is also a compressional feature when one slice of rock slides over another on a low-angle fault plane surface. The thrust plane rides over the ground surface. These sheets may be up to 50 kilometers, or about 30 miles wide, and may carry for many tens of kilometers or miles over the underlying rock. One type of lithospheric plate boundary is where one plate slides past another. This is called a transcurrent or strike-slip fault. The rock masses move in a horizontal direction past one another. There is little or no vertical displacement along the fault. Only a thin fault line or narrow trench marks the rift zone. Transcurrent faults can become locked. That is, the rocks on the two sides do not slip by one another, although the lithospheric plates continue to move and exert shear force. A sudden release of accumulated strain may produce a major earthquake.
So a hanging wall is a rock mass that rests on the fault plane. Look at the image properly. How do you see how is the hanging wall looks? So you see that it is resting on this fault plane. Let's define what a fault line is. A fault line, this is on top of the image where we have the hanging wall. And so we are going to define a fault line. Let's look at the fault line. And so the fault line is the intersection of a fault plane and the ground surface. So I have said that a fault line is the intersection of the fault plane and the ground surface. So the fault plane, this is where you have the two sides, the fault plane and the hanging wall. So the line that connects the two of them, this is what we will call the fault line. Let's look at the footwall. So you can see the footwall on our image. Yes, if you haven't, please look at it properly. And so the footwall, this is the rock mass beneath the fault plane. So it is the rock mass beneath the fault plane. So those are the different types. Those are the different parts of a fault. I hope you have understood what you have learned for today. So giving a summary of the lesson, we have looked at the different types of faults. That is a normal fault, a thrust fault, the faults that you have in the video. And I'm going to give you an assignment. And in this assignment that I'm giving you, I'm asking you what is faulting. Number 2, name the process of faulting. Number 3 is state the different types of faults. So this is the assignment for today. If you have any questions, feedback, we will have the pleasure of contacting you and giving you the feedback that you require. So contact us on 22518, that is SMS. You can as well post questions on our Facebook page, that is at Elimu. That is Elimu TV. You can tweet us at Elimu_KE. Thank you.